Hi, welcome back to this video. In this video, we will continue to understand the findings of the relay assembly room test. The results of the experiment astonished the biology professor Turner to conclude that the increase in the output is because of the wages or some other factors such as the small settings or the social interaction opportunity or the friendly supervision or an opportunity to earn extra incentives. These were certain surprising conclusions and observations, so the team decided to conduct another experiment, namely relay assembly room test 2. In this set of experiment, there were certain kind of changes were being made, and the major purpose to conduct this experiment was to gain the empirical evidence for the wage incentives as a reason for productivity. So here quickly let's look at the difference between the previous experiment and this experiment. The previous experiment was more observatory in nature and more descriptive in nature, while this kind of experiment was conducted to understand it from an empirical perspective and gain certain evidences that can be concluded as whether wage incentive variations are responsible for this kind of change in the output, which is rising despite of the changes in the work conditions. The participants and the task that they were supposed to do in this second room test was they were testing the possibility of two new study groups. Obviously they were doing this study with two different set of people that were being formed, a group of 5 relay assemblers and a group of 5 operators that were splitting mica, which was used as an insulator. In this experiment, for the initial 9 weeks together, the relay assemblers were placed on a group performance incentive plan. The group incentive plan was similar as they kept it in the previous previous experiment, that was the relay assembly test room 1, in which they were shifted the people to a group incentive plan instead of the incentive plan on an individual basis. Initially, the total output went up, the individual output was leveled off when the performance plan as in the regular department was restored and the total output dropped. Now when they shifted these experimental group to the regular plan of incentive, that was the individual performance incentive, the performance dropped. So this was another observation of this kind of experimental group. The mica splitters had always been on an individual piece rate plan, and after being moved to a special observation room, the splitters rest periods and the length of the work days were also varied. Now in the regular scenario, these mica splitters used to work on the individual piece rate plan, wherein whatever they are performing individually, if they are able to go over the bar of the standard output, they are going to earn extra incentive. So they were shifted to this plan, which was original in terms of the regular activity that they used to do. The performances were dropped. In addition to that, there were certain kind of rest pauses and certain kind of variations in the work conditions related to the length of the work day was also changed in the experimental group. So we could say, unlike the regular departmental work, in this experiment group their length of the work day and the rest pauses were different, and the mica splitters were studied for about 14 months and their average hourly output rose to 15%. Now making these kind of changes, that the plan of incentive was shifted sometime to a group incentive plan, then reinstated to their original plan, just as similar to their regular incentive plan, and their basic work conditions were changed because of certain kind of rest pauses, certain kind of work scenarios that were eased. We could say the work hours were eased in this experiment, but the results showed 15% of the rise in the output. Now the basic reason of productivity still cannot be established despite of this second set of experiment. The relay assemblers output gone up in both the studies except when they were returned to the group performance incentive plan that was used in the regular relay assembly department. So it is like when they shifted to the regular plan, the performance was dropped, but when they reinstated the group incentive plan, the kind of performance showed a rise. The reasons of this kind of productivity and results cannot be established. So Turner was hesitant to solely attribute the increase to the different pay schemes, and he was still not sure that whether is it the incentive plan that is making a difference or it was the psychological and the social components that is playing a role in the background. To understand more about this kind of studies and to add more to these kinds of conclusions, there was another set of study that was going on simultaneously. It was the interview program, which began by Hebarger and Snow when they initiated the illumination study. So we could say that this interview program was actually simultaneously going along with the illumination study, the first set of experiment that we have learned. And it is about gaining more insights about the employee supervisor relations. Now, using this kind of indirect technique, or you could say in-depth technique to understand the viewpoint of the people, they basically resorted to certain questionnaire items. We could say a structured way to uh, approach the people so that more details can be learned about the situations related to their general health, related to their happiness and contentment at the job, whether they are influenced by any of the peer pressure or their co-workers. So these kinds of questions were being asked in this interview, and these interviews basically were focusing on the listening roles of supervision. So interview technique is all about how better you are able to gain the insights by in-depth discussion of the interviewer, and that is why it is considered as one of the very important technique when you're trying to understand the subjectivity of a situation. So Elton Mayo entered formally into the Hawthorne studies at this stage, and he was not involved in all the other experiments on the forefront, but during the stages of interviews, Elton Mayo was the main person who was guiding this kind of series of experiment and tried to understand the psychological viewpoint of the workers as well while they were undergoing the illumination study with the variable and the control group. So because it is a non-directive technique, it helped worker to express more and in a better way. But Mayo believed that interview technique allowed employees to express their feeling more freely, and because of that freeness, the kind of complaints were gathered, and they were whatever complaints that they have received, they thoroughly investigated them and separated on the basis of certain facts and sentiments. So whatever responses they were receiving in terms of those 30 to 90 minutes of opportunity for the people to speak about these questions, that whether they are happy, whether their relationship with the supervisor is good, whether co-workers are affecting their work performances or not, these kinds of factors were being analyzed, and the researchers get to understand that these responses, whatever they are gathering, are more of a complaining nature, and these complaints, when they were better analyzed later, they identified into two parts, that there are two parts of this complaint and statements that they are making, out of which there are lesser of the facts and more of the sentiments. It is the expression of the emotions and sentiments of people. And there are two levels of these complaints, one of which is a manifested or a material aspect, and the other is a latent or a psychological aspect. Let us try to understand it through an example. One of the interviewee or an employee, they complained about a low piece rate in the organization as an incentive plan, and when they tried to understand it more from the detailed description that he provided, the reason that they identified is that it was linked with his concern for the medical bill which are rising because his wife was ill. Now it was important to understand that what he is trying to say is that the direct material reason to understand is not the piece rate plan in the company or the incentive plan in the company, but the real reason is that he is dissatisfied because he had to pay extra bills because his wife is ill. So we could say that certain complaints were no longer treated as the facts, because it is not a fact that he was dissatisfied with the incentive plan, but it is a symptom or an indicator to understand his personal or a social situation, that whatever statements that they are making, whatever complaints they are making, whatever opinions they are keeping, there might be certain signs, indicators, predicators to understand a bigger picture. And this is what we could say the advantage of using a non-directive technique, wherein people have the free ability to express without a stress of being judged. This kind of technique revealed this two levels of complaints, And as an outcome of this interview results, a kind of a recommendation was being given to supervisors that they must be trained to listen more and talk less, because the supervisors are more on a advisory roles or more on a direction roles, that they basically try to instruct people how to perform. While through this kind of series of experiment and study, especially of the interview results, the recommendation that came from the researchers was that the supervisors must learn and must ensure that they are well trained in the listening roles, because in this way they can observe the workers behavior better, and they are more able to understand the issues and the problems which are not expressed explicitly but need a kind of an observation to understand the story behind the behavior of the people. So the conclusion of these interview results was a link between the supervision, morale and productivity, which obviously became the foundation for the human relation movement. The last series of experiment was the bank wiring room. But before this experiment began, there were certain concerns. The Micah splitter study, that was the second assembly room test, it produced ineffective information, which leads to another study, that is the bank wiring room. But before this study was started, there was resistance started to come from the supervisors of the original bank wiring room in the department, in a regular department scenario. They were more concerned because they have understood that the assemblers that were involved in the relay assembly test room, their supervision conditions were changed. So if their productivity has shown a rise, they were actually reluctant to take a blame on themselves that it is because of the supervision that they were not able to produce more. And in the experiment room, since the work conditions were more comfortable, there was less of the supervision, less of the control, and more of the interactive activity, and people were allowed to interact, and there were more rest pauses given. So these were the reasons that the productivity has risen. So definitely the supervisors were concerned about themselves, that if even if from the bank wiring department also the employees will go and being observed with certain kind of similar changes in the work conditions, they will also show some high productivity, and in this way the blame will definitely come on the shoulders of the supervisors. So they were resisting to send their employees for experiment. So to overcome this kind of resistance coming from the supervisors of bank wiring department, few changes were being made. The changes were like the workers earning would be the similar as they are earning in a regular setting. That means whatever they are earning in their regular job employment, they will get the same kind of incentive. The supervisors will remain same as they are in the department, so it is like no new supervisor or no researcher will be supervising, but whosoever is the regular supervisor will also be there in the experimental room. In addition, the observer, that means the researcher who is observing this experiment and recording the observations, will remain in the background. So it is like the people will be unaware that there is some observer who is observing them. So the fact of being observed and performing better is also taken care of in this set of experiment. And the layout, the procedures, everything will remain the same. That means the setting of the work conditions will remain the same in this as compared to the relay assembly test room wherein the work conditions were changed. The only thing that will change here is that they were segregated into separate rooms, because in a regular scenario all the employees in the bank wiring department, they work together, but because they were being experimented, they shifted to a separate room. This is the only change that were being made in their work conditions, and rest of the things were similar as they were used to do in a regular setting of the work. Let's look at the department, what happened in the bank wiring room. The participants that were selected this time are the male operatives who used to assemble the switches for the central office switchboard equipment, and they were isolated in the observation room. There were total 14 men, out of which 9 were the wiremen, 3 were the soldermen, and 2 are the inspectors, as they used to have a regular combination in the bank wiring room. The task was to assemble the terminal banks for use in the telephone exchange. And during the experiment, there are few observations that were being observed by the observer in the background. So let us look at the experiment. That went in the bank wiring room. Since the male were selected this time to undergo an experiment, it has to be reflected that the men constitute a very complex social group with well established norm. The people, the male, basically they have their own idea of a group sentiment and they share it, as compared to females. Male have a more stronger bonding to connect with, and they have their own mechanism and they have their own established norms to connect in a group, and they had their own conception of the fair day's work. This was an observation in the bank wiring room. The observer noted that the male workers, they have their own conception of the fair day work. That means it was different from the standard output set by the organization. So their idea of fair day work is different as compared to the standard output. So that is one of the observation by the observer, that their idea is different. That is one thing. Another was that the operators who exceeded this standard output were known as the rate busters. Now these are their own well established norms within the group, and this kind of group sentiment was being prevailed, and if it does not prevail, they use certain other tactics such as the pressure tactics. So the one who exceeds this kind of a performance which is set by the organization as a standard output, they used to call those kind of employees as rate busters. The second category of people that they have identified are the rate chiselers, who basically perform in a way that is less than the standard output set by the organization. So the one who is performing, we could say, less than the standard output are known as the rate chiselers, because they are not able to produce it to that standard output. So additionally, the operators also learned that if there are people who try to do anything or injure the co-fellow worker or operator, they are also known as killers. So these are the terms that they have observed, that within the group of those male employees, they have these terminologies that they use for the people who perform. And the one who is outperforming the standard output are the rate busters, the one who is underperforming the standard output is the rate chiseler, and the one who is harming the co-worker and not letting him work and not letting him do and reach to the fair idea of the output, they are known as the squealers. These are the terminologies used by the people within that group. So this group sentiment prevailed. This is one of the observation. Another observation that they have noted is that they use certain kind of subtle pressure tactics. For example, they ridicule their co-members or the employees who are working together as a team if they try to improve their performance and they want to become a rate buster. They pass on certain kind of sarcastic comments and they try to use certain kind of binging voices. They make certain kind of noise altogether, and they try to bully the other person, those who want to, if they are outperforming the task or if they are underperforming. So in all of these ways, they basically are trying to pressurize their people to not to go beyond the fair days idea. That means whatever standard that they have set on their own as compared to the standard which is being set by the organization, the people in that group who were working as a bank wiring operators, they had this idea of the work, and they did not let the other people also to outperform this fair idea. So they, whatever they have decided, they force people in a subtle way, they force people to reach to this idea, to fulfill this fair idea of output only. So using these kind of subtle pressures, they basically pressurize people to not outperform also and not underperform also, because they have identified two of the fears as well. The two fears are the rate cuts or increased bogey. Now in case if a person will outperform the standard output which is set by the organization, herein the employees had a fear of getting increased workload. Now in this case, in this case, the workers were more fearful that if the output is increased from the standard output which is set by the organization, it will be a new range of efficiency, and in this way the expectations of the management will rise. And if the expectation of management will rise, they will get an idea that people can improve their performance and can enhance the efficiency of the output. So this will result in an additional workload, and plus the incentive whatever they are earning will remain the same. So there will be a more workload on the same job. And another thing is that if they are not able to reach to that standard output, the rates will be cut. It is like the lower amount of pay will be given to them because they were not able to reach to the standard output. So that is one of the fear. Another fear is that the supervisors anger they have to face if they are not able to perform to that standard output. So these are two basic fears which were also there. That is why they use these pressure tactics for other people also to not perform. So basically a kind of a group sentiment they have observed in this room bank wiring, that the performers are restricting the output because of these perceptions that they have, that if they are going to perform as per the expectation of management, then they are going to get no additional benefit and they have to work hard. If they also have set their own criteria of a fair day work, they do not let the people to cross that criteria as well, so that the other person will not get to know that they can improve their efficiency and they can generate better output, or they do not want to also face the anger of the supervisor. So in all of these scenario, we get to learn that the people in the bank wiring room were restricting the output because of their own idea of work, and they have set their own criteria that this is the limit where they want to work and this is how they want to get the incentive based on this idea, which is their own idea, different from the organizational set standard output criteria. So these kinds of observations revealed a lot of insight about the importance of the informal connections in an organization and the restriction of output. These are the two we could say path breaking differences that we could compare with the previous set of experiments that has been learned, that in this case there is a kind of a sentiment which is prevailing and people were also not letting other people to cross that sentiment. So that is a kind of a surprising observation of bank wiring room. Now let us also understand what is the difference between the two tests that has been conducted, one with the relay assemblies and another with the bank wiring room operators. The major difference was that in the first case in the assembly room, there were the females that were being observed. In the second case in the bank wiring room, males were observed. So that is one difference to understand. And the second difference is that the female employees is trying to increase the productivity and show the total gross output to be rising. While in the second case, the male employees were restricting the output, which was different from the norm and the standard set by the organization. Another thing is that the both groups included observers working with the researchers, but their roles were different. In the case of the relay assembly study, the observer took the assemblers into their confidence, they asked for their suggestions, their opinions were important, they were encouraged positively to participate, they have the ability to interact freely, they were working on a comfortable pace, their work conditions were changed as compared to the regular work conditions. While in the bank wiring room, the observer merely watched the operators while engaged in the same informal behavior they had practiced in the past. That means in the bank wiring room, they had the work conditions were similar. So in the initial case, we could see that the relay assembly study, there were different work conditions, different work environment, and in that the output productivity rise. While in the second case, there were no special conditions were being allowed, there were no scenario that had been changed. The only thing that was changed was that they were being observed, unlike in the regular department. And about that also they were not much informed because the observer was in the background. So they were working in a regular, as they are working in a regular setting, their work norm remains the same. So the behavior of people within the experimental room was different. That was something new to be understood from the viewpoint of our experimental. Let us now summarize the results of Hawthorne studies. So in a nutshell, we can see that the Hawthorne researchers found that informal groups are in effect instruments used by employees to control the other activities and the sentiment of the co-workers, as well as they provide protection from the actions of the employers as well. So informal groups and their existence had been identified while these series of experiments, that the informal groups, socialization, the opportunity to interact, they are important factors for employees when they are working. Additionally, the supervisors and the other managers must balance the economic logic of efficiency with the employee sentiments, and they must recognize that the workplace changes are introduced. For example, certain kind of benefits such as free meals or some kind of rest pauses. These are some factors which are also influential in dealing with the human diseconomies, such as fatigue, or we could say the well-being of people. They are important. Along with that, the participatory style of supervision, the cordial work conditions can help workers to stay comfortable in their space of work. Social needs are important. Attention to management towards employee is a very effective way to make people work. So we could say there are certain techniques that are very helpful from the Hawthorne studies, as a result, to understand that it is not only the work conditions, but it is also the supervision style, it is also the concern of the management towards the employees, that are also influential and important factors that need to be considered. So with this, we come to an end to this video of discussion of Hawthorne studies, in which we tried to understand the series of experiments that were conducted with different objectives, but the result of Hawthorne studies ended up by identifying the importance of the social requirements and the social needs of human in an organization, and that is why it is a path-breaking study which is very much celebrated and became the foundation of the human relations movement, that give insights about the social needs, the existence of the informal groups in an organization, but also balancing it with the economic incentives and the economic aspects of the life and activities of workers, that they want to earn better, they want to have better work conditions, they want to have a comfortable work environment, which is very important. So it is not only the content and the task clarity that the employers are supposed to provide to their employees, but also the work conditions that has to be improved are going to be a very important factor that determines the productivity of the employees in an organization. So Hawthorne studies is a combination of the series of experiments that focused on how the changes in a work condition and how the changes in a work context can help and improve the productivity of workers. Thank you.